don't get a credit card, right? That's exactly what I was told when I was growing up. Don't get a credit card. You're going to wind up in debt. You're going to end up paying huge interest rates, which are not good interest rates, might I add. Now, I'm going to prove exactly why I personally think that that's not entirely good advice, and how I actually use credit cards to better my life. So the reason you'd get a credit card is for the points, right? It's all about the points, how you're actually spending, and how that applies to how you can apply that to your everyday life to actually get the benefits of a credit card, right? The way that I use this card here, this little shiny one, metal card, the American Express Platinum card. Now the reason why I chose this card in particular is because I get 2.25 points, American Express points, for every dollar I spend, right? And I use those points to pay for flight upgrades. Now I travel around the world quite often, so it's nice to be able to upgrade from your typical economy up to business class without actually having to pay for it, right? Anybody who's flown this leg, right, from, I'm in Vancouver right now, but flown from either LA to Sydney or to Australia, 14-hour flights, if you have flown economy, you've probably got a little glimpse of what hell might feel like. So I try to upgrade as much as I can. Now I'm going to explain these in the form of points upgrades. So I'm going to jump in here. For my AMEX spend, for every dollar I spend, this isn't very pretty, I know, I kind of just whipped it up now. AMEX, I get 2.25 points for every $1 spent. Now 2 AMEX points converts to 1 Qantas point. Qantas is the frequent flyer program that I use, but you can convert it to pretty much any frequent flyer program out there. So for every $1 that equates to $1 spend, it equals to about 1.125 Qantas points if you do the calculations. So looking at just general flight prices here, I just took a random date, 6th of May, from Sydney to Los Angeles, right? The sale price, which is, typically what I used to buy, is $938 one way. Now, of course, these prices fluctuate. They go up and down. They vary throughout the year. You can get sales, and of course, it is cheaper if you buy a return flight as well. But for a one-way leg from Sydney to LA, you're looking at around about $900. Now, where I upgrade to and where you get the most value for points, which I'm going to explain, is to buy this one here, flexible economy. Now it is twice the price usually of the regular sale price, and then I use points to upgrade to business class, right? So if we're having a look over here, this is the Qantas points or upgrade calculator, classic upgrade reward calculator. Many airlines have these. You just need to find the airline that you're flying with. If we will look at regular economy up to business, it would be 98,100 points, right? To go from a sale fare, which is your regular economy, right, up to business, it's going to cost you 98,100 points. Now, if you were to pay for business class, right, let's see how the price of one of these is. You'll see it jumps up fairly substantially. Business class ticket one way is about $9,200, right? So that's a fair chunk of change right there. So if we know that if you were to pay for economy, which is, as we said, what was it, 900 odd, and then go up to pay with points, using 98,000 points to upgrade to the business class ticket, you're looking at economy up to business. You're actually saving yourself $8,262 in having paid for the business class ticket had you paid for it on, with cash. The points required, 98,100 points. If you work out the value per point, it's about 8 cents is what you're getting value per point. Now, as we know, I get it's close to $1 for every Qantas point, but it's 1.125, so it actually works out rounded. These are rounded figures here, about 9 cents per point. Right now, the real value for money is flexible economy. So if you've got the cash, you've got an extra bit, and you're just trying to make the most of your points, coming over to, where we go, economy. The economy class ticket for flexible economy works out, we've already got it here, it's actually $1,848 for the same date. $1,848. Now, where we see the value is the amount of points substantially decreases from flexible economy to business. Now we're only looking at 54,000 points to upgrade to business, right? So if we go back to our points calculator, put those numbers in here, you're paying a little bit more, right? but you're still getting a business class ticket, and you're only using, just a little over half the amount of points. So you're saving $7,352 than had you paid for the business class ticket up front. And it works out that 14 cents per point, about 15 cents per point. When you get to the counter and the checkout girl asks you if you want to pay with Visa or MasterCard, and then she tells you that there's a 3% surcharge by paying AMEX, you got to know your numbers, right? Because if you work this out, it's almost, in a way, like I'm getting a 15% discount on every purchase if I'm redeeming it in this kind of way, in this fashion. So you can see that's the value of the points. Not to mention travel insurance, huge one, right? I travel a few months of the year, so if we were to look at a destination here, popular destination, let's say, as I just had in there, Mexico. If I go to Mexico, May, June, July, so we're looking at 2 months, 26, yep, get a quote. Let's see what we've got here. I travel about more of the year than not. So if I were to say on average 6 months a year, spending 2 months in Mexico, 2 months elsewhere, travel insurance, which is included in my credit card, right? That's all built into the annual credit card fee. Is $400. That covers all my travel insurance. So we're looking at, if I'm doing 3 of these 2-month trips a year, that's about $1,500 in travel insurance had I paid for insurance through an actual provider. And I believe that my credit card provider with AMEX actually use this exact same provider, Covermore. These are the guys that I always have got insurance from, and they're very good. Another feature of the card is that I get buyer's protection, meaning if something breaks, if I order something online, it arrives, it breaks, it sucks, then they actually refund me. So it's an extra level of insurance or protection. Okay, so what about the interest rate, right? Interest rates only apply if you don't pay off your card in time, right? Usually you get I think I get a 55-day interest-free period, meaning that I pay my card every single month, I pay it down to zero. So it's never in any debt. I'm never paying any interest rate. So many people, I'm surprised how many people have credit card debt. How the hell do you get credit card debt? The only way you get credit card debt is buying stuff you can't afford. And then the interest rates are not good on these credit cards. So if you've got interest, if you're paying interest on your credit card, it completely voids all of these extra features. These are just a slight edge. Buying with points, the travel insurance, the buyer's protection, all of these things, these are only a very, very slight edge. Now for a lot of people, this may not actually apply to you because my spending is slightly higher than most, right? I actually link this to my Google Ads account, which is fantastic. You don't actually pay any extra fees, which I was surprised to hear. Full disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Your financial situation is going to be as unique and it's going to be different to anybody else's. But for me, I spend a significant amount of money on YouTube advertising, right? So I pay for YouTube ads and things like that. So I've actually got this connected to my YouTube account. Now, I run everything. I put as much as I can onto the American Express, right? How I do that, there's little tricks and loopholes, such as, my phone company, they charge me a 3% surcharge if I pay my phone bill, my Telstra bill with American Express. However, there's no fee if I pay with PayPal, right? So I link my card to my PayPal account and then I pay my bill with PayPal and then it debits it from my American Express. So little tips and tricks like that, you can maximize your spending. There are programs popping up all over the place that you can actually, there are companies that you can pay and they work as kind of an intermediary if you want to pay for your rent, right? Let's say you're renting a place, you pay them, they take a surcharge, might be a couple of %, and then they pay your landlord for you, right? And then you get the points that way. So there are ways you can maximize your spending. It's only really worthwhile, like if we jump in here, my spending is, as I mentioned, slightly higher than most. Now I've been making some purchases, some flight upgrades. I'm flying back to Vancouver, from Vancouver to Melbourne next month. You can see here I've got 250,000 membership rewards. So I've only had this card for about 6 months. Less actually. I've only had this card for about 4 months, and you can see I've already racked up a fair amount of points. So they are good if you know what you're doing, if you know how to use them. Just don't ever be paying credit card debt, because it completely loses any value that you've got. Airport lounges, that's another one I wanted to add in there. Is with this little credit card here, I get unlimited access to all of the premium airport lounges, right? Anybody who hasn't been in one, who thinks it's just a gimmick, they're actually pretty cool. Especially the premium ones where if you want, you get open bar, you get all the nice food, you get everything, and you get good internet that not everybody else is connected to in the airport, just specifically for your lounge. So little luxuries like that, especially if you've got long layovers in airports, or if you got to be at the airport 2 hours before and then you end up waiting for, an hour and a half. It's a fantastic place to sit down and do work. So that pretty much summarizes many of the features and benefits. There's also other things. I get discounts at certain restaurants for dining out. I get $450 travel credit per year that I get to spend, and I also get 1 night per year, I believe, for any of the American Express partners 5-star resorts, which often there's a place I'm going to be staying in Bali next month that's like $1,200 per night if you pay for it. So I get 1 night there for free. So these are all only very small features. You got to review yourself if getting a credit card is actually right for you, but it's not so quick and fast, not worth getting, because in my case, for example, my specific financial situation, it works out. I love the features, I love the airport lounges, I love being able to fly business class all over the world without even really paying anything extra. I love the free accommodation, I love the insurance, and I love on the things that I buy, and I also love the travel insurance. So I hope you can take some value from that. Alright, take care, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.